Well, that was a hell of a speech.
It was.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I thought it went well. You have Bridget with us again.
Hello.
Hi, Bridget. How
Hi,
you been?
Bridget.
Hey.
Hey, what do you think of it?
I was surprised. I thought it was great. I thought it was just going to be another boring speech, and glad I sat down and watched it.
The problem being is I don't know how many people will sit down and watch it, but he did go a long way to dispel he's too old.
It was 32 million people apparently watched it, from what I read. Big jump from his last one. So.
Now, do you think he might have flipped anybody who are going on the too old?
Maybe a few. Was it a senator or a congressman, a Republican, who came out yesterday and said he would support him. And I'm hoping there's more. But
hopefully some of them that are retiring will. Because, there's a bunch of them that announced that they were leaving after the whole border thing was not passed. They were like, this is getting really ridiculous. Like, that we're not even doing things that we said we wanted to do anymore. Like, we're playing games.
Yeah. So it starts off, with all the pomp and circumstance, and you have everybody in the room and stuff, and he's coming down, and what was it, at least 20 minutes before he actually got to the podium? Taking selfies with everybody.
Taking selfies with people, going around saying his hellos, pissing Republicans off the whole time, probably. They're probably like, just get to your fucking podium, you know?
Yeah, and did you see Boebert there? And she just looked so miserable, like she didn't want to be in the room. She had the resting bitch face.
Yeah.
She had her little updo.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's because she didn't know what to do with her hands.
Right, probably. That's what I'm thinking. She wished she could be hand jiving.
Yeah. And then he goes down, and I thought, as a congressperson, there was a dress code or something like that there, where you have to dress professionally.
It's on the Senate floor. There's the code.
But they were in the Congress.
They're not supposed to wear hats, though. Yeah. They're not supposed to wear hats in there. It's like if a normal person goes to court, you're not really. I'm pretty sure I remember them telling some gentlemen to take off their hats while they were in the courtroom.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
For jury selection.
Just out of a matter of respect, And she handed him the Lincoln Riley pin. What do you think she said to him?
Be sure and tell him Large Marge sent you.
That was probably it.
That's what I think she told him.
And Biden's expression when he saw her. Like, whoa.
Oh, God, you. Oh, this close to my face?
I think Bridget explained it better.
Oh, it's like when your 3-year-old child dresses in a scary Halloween costume, and you're like, ooh, I'm scared, Scary face, I'm surprised and shocked.
I know. I mean, she's proof that you can be very wealthy and still be white trash.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like the poster girl for that.
Yeah, and then there was Matt Gaetz, who was just sitting there with his friends, sounding like this. Yeah, so
he's dreaming of the 17-year-olds that he was with.
Oh my God.
He's like, boy, would I rather be like doing coke with 17-year-olds right now and preparing to bang them soon.
I guess for the political climate and stuff like that, I used to not know anybody in the room. I mean, I knew the president, the vice president, maybe the Speaker of the House. But when they were panning around the room, I'm like going, oh, that's so-and-so. That's so-and-so.
I know. It was amazing how many people I knew, too. I was like, oh, that's Senator so-and-so. That's like, back in the day, I barely knew the senators from my own state,
Yeah.
I've learned a ton about the Supreme Court in the last 6 or 7 years, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize they were as biased as they are.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets up to the podium and he starts off with,
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Starts out with jokes.
starts off with jokes on it. And he just kept going. You know, I was kind of impressed. And speaking of the Supreme Court, one of the big issues that we're going to be running on is women's reproductive rights and stuff like that. And just for an
For a reminder of why?
I did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Yep, you get all the credit for that. You and the Supreme Court, actually.
So he's just in the Supreme Court.
Chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following. And with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about.
Yes, you are.
Chamber.
Now, he screwed up there a little bit, okay, but who could get up? I couldn't do it. And Biden has a speech impediment. I could not go up there and not mess up words.
For over an hour.
Dude, I grew up my whole life with my mom going through the name of like my sister, my cousins, all of my cousins, ones that don't even live in the state before she'd even get to my name sometimes. What the hell are these people talking about? People who are much younger have brain farts all the time too.
We do it all the time.
You know?
All
Yeah.
the time. Shit.
I mean, I thought he was talking pretty fast too. Like in a few parts, I'm like, whoa, wait. I want to really hear this, you know? Like, I'm like trying to ask him to slow down a little because he's like on a roll, you know?
Yeah, and he brought up that, what other rights are you going to take away? And I think if Trump does get elected and he gets the right Congress in place, they're going to go after gay marriage.
Oh, yeah. They've already said that they were, isn't it Obergefellder or whatever? Is that the one? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they said that was next on the chopping blocks.
Yeah. And they're running on, the 12-week abortion plan. That's what Trump is claiming right now. But if they get the right Senate and Congress to be able to pass this stuff, they're going to go total.
And the fact that they try to do that, though, like, oh, it's going to be a such and such weak thing, but you're coming out and saying that it's murder. So then you're saying that you're okay with a little bit of murder, huh? Like, they make no fucking sense whatsoever,
Right. It's pro-life, but they'll be ready to give the doctor the death penalty if he performs abortion, if they get what they want to do.
And it's funny, pro-life, I say this every time we talk about that phrase, pro-life, that was hijacked from the anti-death penalty people. They started that. And then these assholes hijacked it and used it for abortion instead.
They're pro-birth.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends.
Yeah, that's where it ends. Then, as far as feeding children,
They could give a fuck if they go starving and hungry.
Yeah. I mean, we'll start off with one of the things that Republicans, the thing is, if you don't approve of what the president is saying, and you get to that applause break that they always do, and the vice president, always stands up and they do the applause. They couldn't stand for clean drinking water for kids.
I know. Yeah.
You would think.
They not just standing, they couldn't even clap. There was a ton of them just sitting over there like turds on a log when it would pan out to them. Forget about standing. You couldn't even clap for clean drinking water for kids that you don't want aborted.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like they were like looking at Mike Johnson for the cue because how he would just kind of, after Biden said something, he would just kind of look over at them.
I was waiting for him to shapeshift into a lizard the whole time.
But
I'm
he
like,
was clapping behind the podium though.
Yeah,
he did on a
think
couple
yeah.
things. He did on a couple things, and then a couple things he had that shitty look like they made fun of on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
you know?
and he had that look like the guy from Office Space. Oh, we're gonna need you to come in.
We're gonna have to go ahead and Peter. Hey, Peter.
Okay, so Biden.
How's it going?
So Biden was just full of it, though. I mean, he came in there equipped, and he went off the cuff at times, like when he was talking about the infrastructure bill.
For a bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in.
Right? I think Gosar was one that bragged his ass off about the money. And it's like, bitch, you voted against it.
If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernize our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems.
Yeah, I know our own county supervisor was bragging about high-speed internet, and I am sure he did not support this bill.
I'm sure
on
would
social
be willing
media,
to bet
he
money.
did
Is
not
there a way
support
we
this
can
bill.
place a bet in Vegas? I could become very rich.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or, then we got the taxes.
It's how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut. Overwhelmingly benefit the topping 1%, the very wealthy, the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit. They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break?
No.
I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 will pay additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny.
I did love the crowd work there.
I was hoping it was the clip, and maybe you have it for later, the one where he's like, folks, these are facts, and I know you know how to read.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
I'm like, that was my favorite. That was like probably my favorite. One of his rebuttals.
Yeah.
To them.
And it's true. Now, to be fair a little bit to the previous administration, the deficit did go up tremendously, but a lot of that was COVID relief. It was something that had to happen.
Right.
But how they said, hey, were you better off 4 years ago than you were today? No, we weren't better off. We were
wiping our asses with coffee filters.
Yeah, because everybody's hoarding.
We're better
paper.
off today. Yeah. It's like who just asked that recently? Wasn't it Elise Stefanik who tried to go out there and say, yep. Are you really better off today than you were 4 years ago? Yeah. Yes, we are. Yes. I remember 4 years ago, since it is March, I remember 4 years ago this time, I didn't get to go to Boston to see the Dropkick Murphys that year for the St. Patty's Day show because it shut the fuck down. So I'm definitely better this year.
We have the best economy on the planet right now.
Yeah, and the reason why people don't realize that is because of inflation. Mm-hmm. And that inflation,
it's not even real inflation; it's just greed.
Yeah, and he does address this coming up here.
Another one of the highlights.
It's 100%. It's greed, but if you take everything Trump bragged about, every economic factor, lowering the deficit, unemployment, the stock market has been a lot better lately. Gas prices are coming down. Biden has beat him in those numbers. And now inflation, yeah, everything's more expensive now. Mm-hmm. So that got us to the next.
It's also greedy corporations.
Well,
too.
that's 100%.
Yeah. So.
Too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why it's cracking down on corporations engaged in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean. You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look, I'm also getting rid of junk.
Okay, so on that point, can't we as Americans get behind we do not want our Snickers bars to be smaller?
I'm laughing because it's like
thing.
Snickers is like my mom's favorite candy. I'm like, my mom's got to be like, yeah, give us back our Snickers.
The only drawback to that is like the CEO of Snickers has got to be like, well, I'm not going to, you just embarrassed us on national TV.
You got called out. You shouldn't have shrank your product.
Right.
Yeah,
and God, that happens, especially if you go to a dollar store. People go into dollar stores thinking
that it's cheaper because they market it. Oh my gosh, dollar stores, things only cost $1 here. And it's such lies. Like I was noticing that. And then, remember we watched that one episode on, John Oliver too. And he did one on the whole, specifically on dollar stores, how they have like the packaging still looks the same size, the Skittles, and then they have a tiny bag inside of the big box of Skittles. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It's just fucking nuts. But and then I heard, like, when after they're doing like the, criticizing his speech, afterwards, and they were mad at him because he went to that issue before he got to immigration. Like, oh, he's going to talk about Snickers. That's more important to him. I'm like,
so it was to be done in a certain order? Like,
have these people ever been to a concert? You save your best song for the encore.
No, they're not cool. Could you see them at concerts? Oh my God.
Yeah. They would be going there as, how come Leonard Skinner didn't play Freebird first?
Right, complaining. It's like, isn't it just important that it got played? Like, to sit there, how childish is that? Like, to sit there and bitch about that it wasn't talked about before a certain thing. So you're admitting that he at least talked about the other thing, but it wasn't in the order in which you saw fit? What the fuck kind of... These people do want a dictatorship.
I thought Biden was doing like a countdown, to important issues. You start with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and down the line. And he got to immigration on it, which obviously didn't go over it. Now, to me, I think, corporate greed is kind of a bigger issue than immigration.
Yeah, but they're not going to think that because corporations are their sponsors, right. for the most part, on there, and not that there's not democratic corporate sponsors too, but I mean they are heavily sponsored by they are like I always say, they behave like they have sold their soul, and the devil being like corporations, mass corporations. It's almost like they will do anything. They are desperate. They will do anything to please their masters. I mean,
especially the pharmaceutical companies.
Yes,
especially
it's
the pharmaceutical
crazy. Companies. It's crazy.
Yeah, immigration is just the boogeyman thing. And that's why they never get behind any legislation, because they want to keep that boogeyman alive.
Yeah, well, he addressed that.
Yeah.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so?
You wrote the bill.
Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? The conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backlog of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now. What are you against?
What are you against?
100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives and rewire the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying no. Look at the facts.
Look at the facts.
I know you know how to read.
There it is.
But it's true. And then he gets into that Trump called them up and told them specifically not to vote for this bill. And then McConnell said, well, we're not going to vote on it because the politics have changed. That's a quote from McConnell. Because they're beholden to Trump. And Trump doesn't want to fix it. And Biden even said, join me, work with me, get this bill passed.
And when they had their 2-week vacation or whatever, their 2-week break, the speaker called the break, he went down to Mar-a-Lago to talk with Trump. Probably to get direct orders. He went and visited Trump.
Yeah. Even when Trump had both houses, or both sides, they still didn't do anything about it.
I know they don't want to do anything about it. They just want to use it as one of their talking points because they don't got shit to run on.
Right, and
that's the thing.
John Stewart made a good point of that. Is that it's only an issue every 2 to 4 years.
Right.
And I don't know if you saw the guest John Stewart had on the Daily Show last week. They had an author on there who was talking about the problem at the border is, number one, it's inaction. But number two, it's our own policies that destabilize the region, and that's why they're coming here in the first place.
Yeah, and I've lived in Arizona my whole life. They did not give one flying fuck. It was never an issue. As far back as when I can remember when I was becoming a voter and whatnot, they didn't give a shit at all under Baby Bush. It seems like they started making it their go-to issue whenever Obama ran against McCain. And then they started this whole border thing. I mean, I could try. I mean, that's from my memory of living in a state that shares the border.
Is facing the crisis.
And then it was about the Muslims coming in over the border.
Exactly.
Now exactly. It's the brown people.
It's like whatever new brown group of folks that they can attack that's their new talking point.
Yeah, in the Boogie Monster. Now, again, he gets to the pin on it that Marjorie handed him.
Opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress and the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win, he viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him, it's not about me. I'd be a winner Not really.
There's Large Marge.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks.
Okay.
And also what I would have loved for him to say too is to say, you know, you have senators going on, like Ted Cruz goes on Fox News and he sits there and tells the borders are wide open. Do these morons not think that there is not Fox News in Mexico? Fox News is played on the TVs in Mexico too. Okay? I've been on vacation in Mexico and I've seen it when I flipped through the channels and been like, yeah, barf, I'll be skipping that. I don't want to see that when I'm in paradise, you know? So them sitting there going on TV, that is part of the problem. When they go on TV and they say the borders are wide open, what do they think that the coyotes are like, hey, this is your time right now. Give me your money and I'll get you to America. Even Senator Ted Cruz is saying the borders are open. Come on in.
Yeah. Now, there was a lot to unpack there. First off, okay, they get behind this Lincoln Riley, which it's a tragedy. It is. Sad. First, they were criticizing him for flubbing the name, but it did sound like he started to say Lincoln, and he caught himself and said Lincoln. Now I've heard it again.
Is her name Lincoln?
Lincoln Riley.
Okay.
Lincoln Riley.
See,
that's really easy to do.
Yeah, especially with all the designer names nowadays. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up a few.
I've never
like
heard
that one lady, what's her face? Katie Britt has the kid named Ridgeway. Who names your fucking kid Ridgeway?
Well, it's probably conceived on piano.
White people.
White trash. It was conceived on a Ridgeway. We're out there doing it there.
Yeah, but isn't Ridgeway a piano company?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
I thought Ridgeway was
Steinway?
like
Oh, Steinway. I thought Ridgeway was too.
Ridgeway sounds like a last name, but yeah.
or it sounds like a road up in the mountains or something. Follow the Ridgeway or something. You know, I don't know. It
Could
sounds.
be. I wonder if there's a Ridgeway, Alabama.
It definitely does. Maybe it could sound like a town. It definitely doesn't sound like a fucking kid's name.
Probably some Civil War general or something.
Oh, that could be their
there you
last
go.
name. A last name that got turned into a first name.
Well, we'll get into her in a minute. But he brought up a good point, is they all latch against this one tragedy, okay? But I looked up the numbers this week, and we're going to do an episode once we get the final numbers, where immigrant crime is a lot less than domestic crime, the numbers. If you're not in this country legally, you're more likely not to commit crime because you're not going to want to get caught. It's a fact. There's numbers that prove that out there.
Right.
You know, but no, nobody's, hey, we got to blame somebody for.
And aren't most of the people going to be like, I came here for an opportunity to make money for my family, to do better in life. They're not coming here to be like, oh, I can't wait to get to America so I can go kill people. So I can go kill Americans.
I honestly don't know why they want to come here. Given the state of, not to say, probably the greatest country in the world. I don't know, that's a pompous statement, greatest country in the world. But, yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but just knowing how we treat immigrants here, I don't know why, as an immigrant, you would want to come here.
Because their countries are worse. That's the only thing I can think of. Is like,
Well, if you watch Fox News.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, and then he did get to the elephant in the room, which is a big concern of all voters. Okay, his age.
Let me close with this. I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things.
Lindsay.
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America to the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II, when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Cunningham, were assassinated. And their legacy inspired me to pursue a career of service. I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city, Wilmington, was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
I think we went a little long on that one. Anyway, the point being, though, he addressed the age issue, and he was pretty sharp. And when he did screw up, it wasn't because of a mental lapse. It was because of a stutter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Overall, I thought he did good.
Yeah, it's not like he was up there freezing like Mitch McConnell, where he just like froze and was just staring
goes
into space.
The stutter. So, to recap, okay, and then we'll discuss. These are things that Republicans could not clap for.
They couldn't find it in themselves.
Yeah. Okay, we'll rattle these off. American jobs. Stopping fentanyl from coming across the border. Clean drinking water for kids. Raising the living wage. Raising the minimum wage so it's a living wage. Assuring everyone has the same voting rights. Lowering drug prices. Lowering crime. I thought that was a big one, was lowering crime.
They always cry about that one, too.
Teacher pay. Who wants educated kids? Mm-hmm. They couldn't even clap for not cutting Social Security.
That's why, I don't know why people didn't at least notice that. How is that not the takeaway from it? Okay, we already know that there's fighting within the the sides. The sides fight with each other. Shit, there's infighting too. But to sit there and watch it, that should have shown you these people can't even clap for these kind of things. What does that tell you what their agenda is?
Oh, it's fascism. You cannot disagree with, the dear leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cutting junk fees. So when you go to book your hotel room on Priceline, you see the entire price up front. You go to Ticketmaster, you're buying tickets, you want to see the entire price of the ticket up front. They're against that. Here was the big one. The big one is making sure veterans had proper health care.
Mm-hmm.
And they could not even clap for that?
I know. Mm-hmm. And they're like, always like, support our troops. And how there's like the patriots who, they're the super patriots that are always out there supporting our vets and sticking up for them.
Yeah.
Except for when it comes to passing legislation that will help them.
Yeah, and how dare you kneel for the national anthem because you're disrespecting the vets, but you don't want to fund veteran health care.
It blows the mind.
It's crazy. So yeah, great speech. Now, I don't know why Republicans do this though, because you always have the other party, does their statement afterwards, a rebuttal on it. They never seem to nail it.
And it's like they pick out their new shining star that, in their eyes, that they just have no fucking clue. They don't know how to connect with average people because they're shining stars. I think I've made fun of all of them that have given the speeches afterwards.
Well, she's like on the top 3 contenders for the VP.
Okay.
But she's a junior senator. Wasn't that the big thing about Obama? Was Obama didn't have enough experience?
Mm-hmm. And
we're talking about Katie Britt from Alabama.
Do you think he'd really actually pick a woman?
No, I think he's going to go to J.D. Vance. And I forget who the third one is.
Ew.
It's not Ted Cruz.
Ramaswamy.
Somebody. No, it was. I can't think of it anyway. But yeah, I think he's going to go with Vance. Because he's
that makes
got the name
sense.
recognition.
And J.D. Vance is a white guy, so that makes more sense.
And he absolutely licks gold-plated
those
sneakers.
Those gold sneakers.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what was that fucking Michael Douglas Fatal Attraction. She almost seemed like she could be in Fatal Attraction because she had that like very calm voice, but it was kind of like she kept on like, I don't know if it sounded like she was about to cry or.
She had the Republican crazy eyes.
Yeah,
a lot of the ladies.
Well,
she also had the Republican bad actor. Like they are like D-list. They're worse than actors on the D-list. Like when you see those Amazon movies and they sound good, and then you start watching it and you're like, I'm out the game because I can't get over the bad acting.
Right. Like she looked like she was in Mean Girls, trying out for a play in a part about
but
being a
like
senator.
overacting times 10.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you are terrible at this. Terrible.
She had big Kelly Ward, Michelle Bachmann energy.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
And the fact that she was in her kitchen, they were criticizing CNN for bringing up that point, like, oh yeah, you're going to show a woman in the kitchen.
She's the one that made the comment about being in the kitchen. She said something like, was talking about how their kitchen table issues, and then she was saying how that's why I'm in my kitchen right now or something. She's made reference to it.
I don't know. I don't sit around the kitchen table talking to my kids about migrants raping women.
That's right. We are in the dining room now.
We're sitting at a kitchen table.
We're not in the kitchen.
This, but we're not eating it.
I don't even have a table in my kitchen.
Yeah, the dining room table. Yeah. I don't know, just serious psycho vibes. And I would know better than anyone at picking up on psycho vibes. She was attractive. I will give her that.
That's usually what Republicans pick, right? I mean, that's why Fox News is so popular, because they get good-looking women to tell these stories to old men to get them angry and riled up. That's like that's their whole world.
Well, the thing was, she was saying stuff like, "Oh, this country's like this apocalyptic, Walking Dead, nuclear wasteland." But she was talking about issues that Biden had suggestions to solve that the Republicans wouldn't stand for.
And that was clearly because they wrote this speech and she had it all lined out before they even... You would think that they would be smart enough to watch what he said and then aren't they good enough to quickly write a speech?
Yeah, writing it as you go.
Right. And then give it to her and have her present it then. It's almost like they wrote the speech a week ago.
Right.
It was like, here's your lines, rehearse them.
And she called him, I think she called him a feeble old man at one point when he just proved that he's not a feeble old man. He's an old man.
He is old.
Yeah.
We've said it several times. He's old.
Seem too feeble.
He calls himself elderly. Yeah. He's called himself an elderly man.
The funny thing was, because, Stone and I, inside we text each other back and forth when we're watching stuff like that. And we're like, oh my God, this is like watching an SNL skit.
And then I was like, I can't wait for SNL to make a skit out of this. And they did.
And they knocked it out of the park.
They did.
Disappoint.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that was Scarlett Johansson.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't either.
I didn't pick up on it first. I just thought
she's so good at totally getting into the role of Katie Britt that you couldn't even tell.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, right? She is.
Speaking of which, it's the Oscars.
She sits on a shocking amount of these committees in the Senate. Like, a shocking amount.
Katie Britt?
ScarJo?
Yeah. No, it's Katie Britt.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
It would take me a long time to name all of them, but it's like, okay.
But how do you get there as a junior senator?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know either. I didn't know that she did.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know her background, her education, and stuff like that. And maybe she is a well-educated, smart woman.
She went to U of A. She's got a Juris Doctorate from U of A.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's respectable.
Yeah, I don't think she's stupid. I didn't think she was a stupid person. I think she
leaned way into the role too much.
She comes off as a dummy, but
she's definitely not a good actress. Mm-hmm. Definitely not. To quote Robert De Niro, he called her lame. It was lame. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Basically, and that's a good word to describe it. It was lame.
Yeah, she did herself no favors.
I know.
Now,
I would be crying if Robert De Niro called me lame. I'd be very, very, very sad about that.
Now, usually if you have a senator, giving the response to the State of the Union, they do it on the Senate floor. And that would have been a much better place for her to portray that. And then, instead of the overacting, if she hit back with facts, which if they had good speechwriters, they could pull that shit up. They had an hour and 20 minutes or so to have to prepare her for the speech.
It's almost like Laura Trump went, hey, wouldn't it be a good idea if we did this? It was like, whose idea was that?
They're just out of touch. That's the thing that always comes to mind when I think about the other side, especially their leaders, if we're calling them that, just out of touch. They're so out of touch with what happens on actual Earth. That's why I'm always making the jokes they clearly live on flat Earth. I mean, they don't live on
and
Earth with the rest of us.
Get to the point, where they were criticizing Biden for talking about Snickers and shrinkflation. Isn't that a real kitchen table issue? Isn't that what people...
Some people do eat Snickers in their kitchen.
Yeah. Or, when you're making the dinner and go, God, you know how much the groceries cost to make this? Isn't that a kitchen table issue?
Right.
But no, it's immigration. And then she went in on this response, and she talked about this sex trafficking thing that happened 12 years ago.
Right, like when Scarlett Johansson made the joke of it's not even the right year. her monologue was brilliant. It's just because, yeah, you would think that you would get your stuff down if they're all in the media. Like, that's what I don't understand. If they're all like technically in the media and they know that the media can bust their asses out on like. Hello, no, that was like from years ago. Like, when I love how they always try to sit there and claim that, like, Fox News has done this for years. They'll show clips of a strike, of striking workers that got out of hand. It was like a little violent at times, right? It's from strikes that happened like 12 years ago. It's not even relevant. But they just try to use that to say to their audience, this is how all union people are. They're thugs. They look at these union thugs, and it's like, that was one strike that got a little out of hand that was, like I said, like at least over 12 years ago, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and then she goes on the Fox morning show, whatever their Face Nation type show is on Sunday mornings, and because she's the new star. And she was blaming Chuck Schumer for the budget not getting passed until this weekend, when it's a Republican Congress that was holding it up.
Maybe she is stupid then. I take back what I said about her not being stupid. I don't
think it's stupid. I think it's manipulating the people that watch Fox News, because
thinking like they won't go look it up.
Like, my roommate's a Fox News watcher.
Right.
Okay. He did not make it through watching the State of the Union. Now, even when Trump was in office, I would watch it.
Yeah,
I
watched it too. Well, I watched it too to see if he would say like anything decent, Not that I would believe it.
And there were many times when Trump was given the State of the Union, I go, I agree with that.
Yeah, you still saw Democrats clapping at like when he was promising to bring jobs back from overseas, whether it was a real legit promise or not. Like, you still had people clapping for that because they're like, yes, we can agree with that we want the jobs here.
Right. And I don't think the Democrats, as far as I can recall, were as disrespectful to the president during the speech.
They never called out.
Other than Nancy Pelosi when she did that at the end.
She did that.
Yeah.
She did.
Which
but
I think she should not have done that.
She shouldn't have. But at least she wasn't screaming out stuff, Like, there was a couple of them doing that. That one guy, I couldn't even understand what he was saying either.
Well, there was the one where
he was up like on the second floor.
No, and that was
balcony.
That was the father of a Gold Star veteran that got killed.
I thought he said Marine or something. I heard him say the word Marines or something like that.
He shouted out his son's name.
Okay.
And then about the Afghanistan pullout. Now, obviously...
But that was started under Trump, which it should have been. Like, that was one of the things that I agreed with him.
Biden just followed the date of the pullout.
Right. He did what Trump had already started, which isn't that what is supposed to happen? He would have gotten yelled at if he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Like the Vietnam War, too.
They would have complained.
When they pulled out of Saigon, it was not pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I feel bad for the 17...
So do I.
17 people that military.
I don't think there's anyone that doesn't feel bad for those folks. It's like...
Trump released like 500 Taliban in office ahead of that, too. So he set it up to fail.
Right? Yeah. Didn't he like invite him here, too?
Mm-hmm. Yep, to Camp David.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And my point, we lose people, military personnel in every war. And I always feel bad about that because a lot of times it's in wars that we should never have been in.
Mm-hmm.
But to that point, like the Lincoln Riley point, and skimmed over it, and he said, "Well, a lot of people are lost to murder by, U.S. citizens."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point. Okay, you got this Lincoln Riley, and you're going to focus in on her. But how about when he was talking about gun violence?
We've got a problem with mass shootings
He
here.
could have rattled off names that would have lasted the whole hour.
Uh-huh.
If we're just going to focus in on one person. But they don't care about that. And of course, immigrants are going to do bad things. Of course, people are going to die in war.
They were pissed when he brought up guns. Mm-hmm. They were pissed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there was like boos and stuff in the audience too.
He said we beat the NRA again.
That you bring up the NRA, that is one organization that they are incredibly beholden to. You cannot fuck with them on that.
I guess we'll end on this. I think I feel a little bit better about our chances in November. I'm not quite there yet that I think it's a wrap.
Well, the Saudis are going to make gas go up again, so that's not going to help.
Right.
But at least the mainstream media is finally starting to turn a little bit on. They're being a little bit more positive about Biden. Like I actually saw headlines saying, how great he was and all that. So
Fiery Joe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's new.
Yeah, at least they're like not being so hard on him like they normally do, and like. Because then they just look like liars.
New York Times. I literally blocked them on social media because they've been so stuck on his age. And
Right.
Bill Maher. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're a fan of Bill Maher. Sarah and I watch, but
I'm like where he has good shows sometimes, and then sometimes. But he finally kind of had to like eat his own words about Biden's age for once, and it was really good to see.
And he said he's going to back Biden. He said that a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Well, he said.
He already had said that. Like even when he's been talking shit about him the whole time, like because I think he really hates Donald Trump.
He called it the blue liquid pledge. He goes, even if Biden's head is in a jar.
Oh yeah, he said he will vote for Biden's head over Trump. Like, I just hope that the Lincoln Project keeps coming out with their sweet commercials and like closer to. It's like, why can't that guy used to be a Republican. Like, I think he's technically now an independent, but still probably has a lot of his Republican values, right? Rick Wilson. Why aren't more Republicans like that? Like, he is at least like a decent person. Like,
because you have the 30% of the cultists. And that 30%, now, Democrats and Republicans, it's pretty much 50-50, right?
But it's like politics.
But 30% of that 50%, they're going to just be Trump ride or die.
I know these people have no standards. It's like that's why I like feel bad for their party sometimes too. I'm like, you guys used to actually stand for something. You don't stand for shit anymore.
I know, even McConnell, thank God he's retiring, but McConnell, all the shit Trump has said about McConnell, and McConnell's like, I'm still endorsing him.
I'm gonna vote for Donald Trump. He's still getting my vote.
Even after Nixon got in trouble and resigned, he still had a 25 or 30% approval rating. Even after all that.
Oh, Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah.
That was always his favorite president.
McConnell's sister-in-law got apparently murdered right before he sucked Trump's dick again, so... There's that.
Oh, fuck. And the one point that you made, which Biden had said when he was talking about January 6th.
Oh, yeah. Let me just read it here again. Because it was probably my favorite quote of his in the night. It was, "You can't love your country only when you win."
Yeah. And...
don't be a sore loser.
But they're going to be. It's going to be a free and fair election if he wins, but it's stolen if he happens to lose. Now, why can't the Republicans just run a stronger candidate?
Yeah, I don't remember Democrats being like this when Hillary didn't get to be president.
There was the Russia
Even though
thing a
she
little bit.
won, technically she won because she won the popular vote. I don't understand. Nobody sat there and still called her the president. Nobody did all that.
Well, here in Mojave County, they're looking to hire somebody to,
They're such
to
fucking babies.
to control the canvassing.
Mm.
And if you read the responses, it's overwhelmingly, see, they're here to try to steal your election again by getting you to register to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Registering you to vote is going to steal the election. Like in Mojave County, in this county,
Do they really think
Is there
this county is going to
any-
go blue?
is there any way
Really?
this county is going blue?
Folks, I can promise you that this county is going to be the county in Arizona that is the most red, just like every other year in the election. We are going to have probably the 75% red against the 25% blue. So how can you even claim that there's cheating? How?
Well, yeah, they even want a hand count.
Our numbers are the same that they've always been. This is always going to be the reddest part of Arizona.
Facts.
Facts. Facts. That's why Gosar's still in office, motherfuckers.
I know.
Anywhere else, then no fucking way.
I know y'all know how to read.
Yeah. If you haven't heard of Kwesi Smith, look him up. He's running against Gosar. I think he's got a decent chance.
Oh yeah, he sounds good.
Yeah,
He's very
I
dynamic,
signed his
yeah.
petition
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, me too.
and donated recently. Yeah.
Maybe you can get him on the podcast.
We planned
That'd be
on
cool.
getting a hold of him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Be interviewing some people that are running.
But we should get him on closer to the election too.
Mhm.
Get him because it is a little far out. We're people who pay attention to
Right.
politics, but some people find that annoying. So it's
I guess
I think we should go closer.
I guess what I don't understand though is they were talking about the undecided voters. How at this point is anybody really undecided?
Because they don't pay enough attention.
But you have
What's really going on.
you have values,
They
though,
have
right?
they have lives.
Are
they
you
have,
are you for women's rights or against women's rights?
right?
Which way? Well,
But they
that's not
probably
true.
are people who they have kids and they have to go to soccer practice and they have to work. The parents are both working full-time jobs, and it's got to be people like that just don't have time to listen to all the stuff that we do. The reason why I listen to most of the stuff is people think they need reality TV. Fuck, just watch the Congress. It doesn't get me. You think that the fucking Real Housewives are more drama than these bitches? Fuck, no.
Yeah, most people sadly don't care about politics, but they don't realize their boss cares about politics. Their
Right.
kids teaching, the teachers in the schools where their kids are care about politics. It affects them at all levels, and most people just don't want to bother.
They don't realize how many things are actually tied in with politics that are in their daily life. Like the size of Snickers shrinking. Those are political things, though, pretty much. Those are people taking advantage. Those are mass corporations taking advantage of people because they know that people don't fucking pay attention.
Well, I loved this about Bill Maher a couple of weeks ago, and he was interviewing Dr. Phil about Dr. Phil's new TV show. And Dr. Phil's like, I don't want to make this a political, but, Bill Maher's like, okay, well, mental health, that's a political issue. And
Sadly, yes, it should be a healthcare issue.
everything he asked Dr. Phil, he goes, well, how about this? And Dr. Phil would be like, okay, I feel this way. He goes, yeah, that's a political issue.
Mm-hmm.
Bill kind of really burned him during that interview.
And Dr. Phil is an educated person, and he doesn't even realize how much of our daily lives are tied in with political stuff. It's like things are affected, laws are passed that affect us in our daily lives. And it's because, for fuck's sakes, daylight savings. Daylight savings, changing that takes an act of Congress to change daylight savings.
Yeah.
Well, we won't even get in how Dr. Phil really exploits mental illness.
Right. And I think I liked Jon Stewart's thing on Dr. Phil better.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think I tell my
The
kids
guys showing up at the border, looking all sexy and ripped.
because my kids, my kids are.
I peed my pants. I almost peed my pants when I saw that.
My kids are like, we don't like either candidate, which is fine. But I tell them it's important to vote because how do you feel about this issue?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go, well, we feel this way. I'm like, that's why you have to vote.
Uh-huh.
Even if you don't like the person, you kind of just have to turn an eye and just go, okay.
Or be like, how do you feel about rapists? Okay, because you have to vote to keep a rapist, an adjudicated rapist out of office, okay? He's a raper.
Who's gonna have
it's not hard.
Who's gonna have his daughter-in-law in control of the RNC so they can pay all of his legal bills?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Rest in peace, GOP.
Oh, God.
That's the last gasp right there.
Although I think I agree. If Trump wins again, I think the three of us are probably all looking at our escape plans.
Mm-hmm. Portugal's looking pretty sweet. Ever since you told me about your friend, I'm like, now I'm like researching it.
Snow's going to Portugal.
I might
You're
go
going to get a house on the beach
or Mexico. Mexico or Ireland, whichever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just need to figure out where I'm going.
Right.
Maybe I'll just move back to Vermont. Hope they secede.
Vermont will be like, we're now part of Canada.
I'll gladly marry a Canadian to get the hell out of here if that happens.
Right? And for their health care.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know. I just feel like, we might be in trouble. But hopefully not. Hopefully the independent people. And I think the media is more like all the things about the polls and shit like that. You know, I think it's a lot closer than what people are saying.
I hope that Taylor Swift gets more people registered.
Taylor Swift could definitely
you.
sway the election. She really could.
She already did in the primaries, though, because she got shit for that, for telling people to get out and vote. Mm-hmm. On Super Tuesday, didn't she put out like a text or something or a tweet?
Yep.
It's like, make sure your voice is heard. And they, of course, I love that she just is like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to still put my tweets out there. I'm like, I'm a Swiftie. And not even for her music. Yeah. I only probably know like 2 of her songs. Yeah. But like,
the only thing I'm going to throw shade on about the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce thing. The fucking Kelce brothers just got offered $100 million contract for their fucking podcast.
Good.
We've been doing this a hell of a lot longer, and no one's paying us shit.
Because we are not dating Taylor Swift. You know that's the reason why they got offered that much. They don't really... obviously, they're going to want the brother talking to the other brother, and especially now that he retired from football, so he can
All right, so you're saying I should make the sacrifice and go date Kristen Sinema or Bolbert so I get some name recognition, and then we could sell the podcast?
Yes.
All right, yeah.
I think Bolbert might be more fun in the sack.
Right? She definitely looks like she knows how to use her hands.
Yeah, not afraid of public affection.
Right?
Well, I'm worried about Kamala Harris's safety come January, because if she's not there, you know who takes her place.
True.
And is in control of approving everything. So I'm really worried about her.
I know. Yeah.
All right, well.
For you. I'm a little late on the draw. I didn't have it up.
All right. We'll have to work on our timing.
Oh, no.
We need to hire a Fred. You know, so someone to play the sound effects.
I
for
want to
us.
be Fred. Can't we hire a Snow and then I'm Fred?
They just play the sound effects.
Fred was always my favorite. Fred and Robin were my favorite on Howard.
And you need a Stephanie Miller box, the buttons, so you can play little sound effects.
Yeah, that's. Well, now it's all done by computer. So I looked into that, and they used to have, you know, because I listened to Opie and Anthony, they had a sound effect board, and you just numbered it, and you just hit, and the sound effect would come up.
Yeah.
Hey, it's in the budget. We just need to get some money rolling into this podcast.
I don't know. Maybe she has. I know that's a good question. If she just does hers off of her iPad, or if she has a thing.
She's got a bunch of stuff. She's got like this thing and that thing, and
I only listen to her. I don't watch the show, so I don't ever get to see it. I mean, I can't really watch it while driving.
Yeah, you're working. Freespeech.org has it live every day that she's on free.
Oh, okay.
The only thing about her, though, is I don't understand her beef with Jon Stewart. I think I get the argument. I get it. But I think she spent too much time on it.
She was mad for several days in a row. Yeah. But, I mean, I still like her. I still like her jokes.
She's coming to Phoenix with the John Fugel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy Liberals coming to Phoenix?
Yep, September sometime.
Yeah. So.
Oh, my God. I want to, well, because I love John Fugelsang even more. Like, I always say he is my boyfriend. He doesn't know it because he's married, and I'm sure he's happily married, but I'm like, oh.
Now you sound like Katie Britt.
Do I? That bad?
No.
I know. I love Jon Fugelsang. Like, he just, why can't more men be like that? That's what I say to that.
All right. So we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
You know, because we got to head to Phoenix tomorrow.
Phoenix.
All right. We'll have some downtime. We'll do a couple episodes while we're there, while you're recovering. Okay. It's Bridget. Thank you for coming on, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. We always love when you're on. And we'll
Bye, y'all.
All right.